And we're live. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, extraterrestrials, hobbits, and cryptids, to our second episode of Scuttlebutt with the Phill Show on Fleet Admiral Levi channel. If you're watching us now or in the future, please leave a like or comment or share it if you liked it. But in reality, subscribe. It really does help the channel. I'm here to say a few things, do a couple things, and hopefully give a little bit of myself to the infamy of the internet. Tonight we'll be discussing a few things, a few items, namely San Diego Comic Con. So, if you'll strap in and grab a bite, we'll get underway in just a second. Well, one thing I have to level with you all on is that I will remain woefully and exceedingly transparent with you, my audience. Right now, this consists of maybe 5 people that like to hear my thoughts or just kind of want to share a token of support. My most heartfelt thank you is in order to all of you. I will do my best to ensure your support is not squandered. But side note, my family, my parents, and my younger brother are currently battling COVID at their place, and we were just there on Monday. We tested on Thursday night and got a free testing kit from the San Diego Public Library yesterday. So I will just say this: COVID is still around, and it's still a nuisance. So I encourage you all to do whatever you have to do to keep yourself safe while the virus makes its way through our lives once again. This is partially why I've been unable to procure my new podcast mic and other equipment I'll be using for the Star Trek Las Vegas event next week. So, once again, bear with me while I use my computer audio to talk about Comic Con. And on yet another note, Dan Leckie, a friend of mine that I help contribute articles to on occasion, said that he'll be ending 2 of his podcasts, Subspace Chatter and Rebel Transmissions, 2 podcasts that I've been on a handful of times already. Um, I think they were a great experience, and I had a lot of fun interacting with other fans of Star Trek and Star Wars. But I wish I could have done more episodes. But I will still be participating in the Antiderivative Jill podcast, reviewing episodes of the Apple TV Plus series For All Mankind. So if you want to check that out, we are set to review the final 2 episodes of season 1 this Tuesday, July 30th. So keep an eye out for that. I also can't rule out the possibility that you'll see me on more podcasts in the near future. So again, stay tuned. So far, this is the closest I've gotten to actually attend Comic Con. It's pure happenstance that we ended up going to it since my fiance and her friends live in and around San Diego. So we were only going to San Diego to look for a potential place to rent since we're planning to make the big move down to San Diego so I can attend graduate school. It was so far away from reality that I could actually visit Comic Con that it didn't even occur to me yesterday that you know there was so much going on there, especially in and around the event uh, site itself. So that was also surprising, and it also completely took me by surprise that yesterday was the opening day of the 2024 Olympics in Paris. I have still not watched any of it. I'm not a really big sports person in general, but periodically I will tune in just to support America and our triumphs in the Olympics, as well as periodically betting on sports periodically, but normally only for between friends and normally nothing official and just you know the World Series, but mostly Super Bowl. And last year's Super Bowl was quite the this past year was quite the thing. That was a nail biter. But anyway, hopefully next year it's not another Chiefs versus 49ers game. But yeah, go Chiefs. But again, uh, quite surprisingly, this will be kind of a little diary entry. We decided to visit the outside exhibits and experiences they had preparing or peppering the exterior of the San Diego Convention Center. We walked by the FX lot. They had a little Dragon Ball Z lot on the side as you kept walking. For some reason or another, IMDb also had a presence there. I mean, I don't know if it was a joke or something, but I remember vaguely somebody saying something about IMDb having some kind of streaming shows now. Don't know how true that is. I think that somebody will have to let me know because that seems a bit wacky. But anyway, everyone did that. We uh, participated in a couple little experiences that they had on the further down the street. We went to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes experience, where I guess on August 2nd they're going to be releasing all 10 uh, Planet of the Apes films on Hulu. So that's going to be fun, I think. I'm a big fan of the entire franchise, so I recommend that you check them out. Even the older stuff. The older stuff isn't bad. Um, my favorite of the older films is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and I highly recommend watching that one. For me, I'm definitely a big fan of these newer ones, and I hope that you get a chance to check out the newer ones. I am, along with most people, not a big fan of the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, so I don't recommend checking that one out, but I would never tell anybody not to. So if you want, please do, and let me know what you want or what you got out of it, if you got anything out of it at all. But anything you want to say about it, I am more than willing to listen. And around the corner from that, there was a Star Trek Doctor Who photo op experience. And me being a Star Trek fan and not so much a Doctor Who fan, it's been very. I'm not the sense that I don't like Doctor Who or anything. It's more like I have trouble getting into it because it's not. I mean, to me, it's not really science fiction. It's more of a like space sci-fi kind of aesthetic grafted onto a fantasy story. So yeah, I don't know. I'm open to the idea of eventually checking it out, but I'm not necessarily in a giant rush. But um, I thought that was cool. There's a couple of photos that came from that, and the pictures will all be forthcoming either on my personal Facebook or on my Instagram. So be sure to check those out when the time comes. But outside the photo op, I caught a glimpse of this cosplayer, Rachel Pizzolato. She's like really tall. She was wearing 6-inch heels, so she's even taller than that. I didn't get a chance to get a photo with her, but um, maybe next time. But kind of we were waiting in line when that happened, so I didn't like want to move out of line. But I was on the way to the Star Trek Doctor Who little photo op experience. But before we or after we got done with that, we decided to head off to another thing. So there was all kinds of street vendors that were selling all kinds of trinkets and even SDCC 24 T-shirts and other memorabilia, including food carts selling bacon wrapped hot dogs. We used to try some of those out in the fashion district here in LA, and now they seem to be everywhere. But or maybe I just don't get out enough, or maybe I do. Either way, I think their bacon wrapped hot dogs are being sold pretty much everywhere now. But still need to buy one. I've had them before, like I said, at the fashion district, but yeah, it's been a while. But aside from that, the news of the day, as I normally try to report, I do like some sort of daily diary thing, will kind of mostly consist of me going through the media for the next 15 to 30 minutes and seeing what's come out at Comic Con because I haven't really heard too much. So we'll be learning together, at least for the next few minutes, if you don't mind. So I'm going to go through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and explore what's come out. I know that some of the information I've heard because we were taking Amtrak down, and there was tons of people. I mean, the train was overbooked, and there was nothing but people pretty much just going to Comic Con. And I thought that that was very cool, but also very strange. Because I think the two guys behind us, they were talking about all kinds of stuff. I think they must have been around my age because they were talking about eventually. They were talking shit about the Cybertruck, and they were kind of saying that somebody had done up a Cybertruck like a Warthog from Halo with the glass cannon, and that brought me back some pleasant memories of old school Xbox live battles on Halo 2. But yeah, they were behind us, so we didn't get a chance to converse with them. So overall, I mean, even coming back, there were tons of people, with Comic Con memorabilia and gear and these like tote bag backpacks that were everywhere. And thought those were kind of cool. But my plan is to go to Comic Con next year, maybe on a press pass, maybe on an exhibition or having an exhibit there, or um, pretty much figuring out some way to get there, even if I have to purchase my own ticket. But it would be cool to check out Comic Con at least once more because the rumor mill is that Comic Con, I believe the license or the lease that they have for the convention center runs out next year in 2025. So there's a possibility that at the end of July next year, that it'll be the last San Diego Comic Con ever. Not the last Comic Con ever, just the last one in San Diego. So there's a small chance that they might end up moving that to Las Vegas or any other city that might um, be capable of hosting it. I'm more on the Team Vegas thing. I mean, John Campia was the one I think that was suggesting that one more seriously. So I don't know if it's actually really in the serious consideration in general or not, but that would be a vote of confidence for me. It would just be weird at that time because next year would mean that we would be going for Comic Con for what the 3 or 4 days that it is, and then the week or two afterwards we would be doing Las Vegas Star Trek. And so there's a possibility next year and every year afterwards that me and whoever comes with me will be staying in Vegas for a week and a half to 2 weeks. And the prospect of that just trips me out. But aside from that, we'll go right ahead into checking out the news from Comic Con. Oh, before I forget. So there were some people in the train that were kind of around all of us that were saying that I guess there was a big kerfuffle with the Deadpool and Wolverine um, showcase that they had there. And so I was told that I guess they overbooked the room that they were holding it in. And I guess the line stretched out basically all the way down through town. And the thought of that, trips me out. So I think I won't check Facebook because Facebook is a little. Not a big fan of Facebook these days. But then again, that's because the only reason I ended up posting more on Twitter than on Facebook is mostly I think there's been a kind of like flight of the youth away from Facebook, mostly because I think it's being slowly invaded by older folks who are constantly falling for AI art and other kind of scams. And so it's kind of becoming, I don't know, a shell of its older self, and so it's kind of sad. But Twitter is kind of worse because now you're having more uh, just flat out racist and sexist stuff being thrown out everywhere. But I mean, straight up Nazis are feeling comfortable there. So I mean, what do? You do your best to fight that in any way you can. we'll try to go between Instagram and Twitter. I think that's going to probably be our best bet. So let's see. Now it's going to come out very scatterbrained, so don't be surprised. But we'll look up the hashtag SDCC24. Let's see what we find. Now I know that Comic Con is not over. It's going to continue for the rest of today and go into tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the last day at Comic Con, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to kind of pepper or kind of be our consideration for what to expect and what to kind of explain from what's already happened at the convention. So I don't know what's going to happen later in the evening, what'll be revealed or what'll be revealed tomorrow, but whatever is, if it's anything big, I'm probably going to mention it again on next week's show, even though next week's show is going to primarily just be the Star Trek Comic Con or the Star Trek Las Vegas convention, Star Trek Comic Con. But we're just going to be basically be focusing on Star Trek Las Vegas and some contributions I'm making to a specific YouTube channel slash little Star Trek platform that I think a few of you are probably unfamiliar with, but a handful of others are probably more familiar with. I think it'll surprise you. So I hope you check that out when they come out. I'll be sharing those to the community tab, so keep an eye out for that as well. So anyway, let's see. So to yesterday, they had a San Diego Comic-Con panel for The Walking Dead. I guess they had a panel for Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and The Walking Dead, Dead City. I have not seen either one. I used to be a very big Walking Dead fan. I don't know. I think I dropped off around the start of the pandemic, so it's been quite a few years since I last hopped into. I haven't seen any Walking Dead in 4 years. Wow. Yeah, we were really hot and heavy into it for like a good 10 years, and then the only one really watching it was my mom and dad. So yeah, we fell off. I might pick it up again. Some people talk, you know, trash about it, saying that it's not as good as the regular Walking Dead, but I can't really be a judge. But aside from all of that, so they had Scott M. Gimple, David Zabel, Greg Nicotero, Norman Reedus, Melissa McBride, Louis Butch, Chigluzzi? Hmm. Well, they're in Hall H this year, so they really wanted attention. There were a few people dressed up as Deadpool and Wolverine, I noticed. Oh, this one's a Spanish one. And as of the stream we're doing now, I have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm planning to see it tomorrow night with a friend. Also planning to see it again on Monday with my family, provided that we haven't caught COVID by then and they're completely over it by then. So there's stuff to consider on that. Webtoon Official. Thursday, July 25th, there was a panel how the webcomic will be televised. The webcomic revolution will be televised. I mean, there have been a lot of pretty good, because I think we're kind of moving out of the superhero era of culture, and we're moving more into adaptation of video quality adaptation of video games. So, because I think the superhero thing kind of faded out thanks to Avengers Endgame. I know DC's trying to do some new stuff with James Gunn's new interpretation of the DC universe, and maybe those would be good. I have a lot of faith in James Gunn, but yeah, it's going to be more of a challenge since I would say that the previous DC universe stuff has been kind of lackluster or a little bit too fan oriented in a unflattering way. Since there's a lot of Zack Snyder fanboys that do say that these films are good on their own, and I don't know what to tell them other than no. So yeah, because we already seen The Last of Us come out, and that was a very really a quality television show. Fallout is also another really quality TV show. The only one that wasn't a quality television show, at least from the start, was Halo, and now that's been canceled. And I didn't finish the second season, but I'm planning to eventually check it out. But it's still interesting that certain decisions were made on the TV show that don't track with the video game, and they felt that that was the best approach to adapting Halo to television. So that's very, very suspect. So from this, I mean, it's Comic Con. I would expect there to be a lot of discussion of comics and you know, the con. So there was also a strong presence for the boys, because I do believe that they discussed a spinoff. And again, I'm also behind on the boys. I only get certain things from the media that's shared about it. But it would appear that they're making a spinoff of the boys featuring a character that I have not seen yet. And so that could be interesting. Sounds like it would be. Now, there's a lot of stuff that is at Comic Con that doesn't particularly pique my interest. So if I skip over that, I apologize. The purpose of this channel is to celebrate science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And the best way I think I can do that is by only showing you those kinds of things. There's a lot of anime at SDCC, but a lot of it can appear in different genres. Because you can have your anime that is primarily like more fantasy, an anime that's more horror, or an anime that's a lot more science fiction. And I think, as I was looking at a little bit of it earlier, and when we get to, I guess, what they're doing with some of the stuff for Gundam, that's when we'll kind of get into this the science fiction side of anime. I don't know what this is, but seems interesting. Neopets. I've also not seen One Piece, but they have a booth. Actually, I think they had a pirate ship out on the bay. I don't know how true it was, how realistic of a pirate ship it was, but it was there on the harbor. Lots and lots of memorabilia. They're selling Godzilla and Kong things. I believe that's what this is. Yep. Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. Yet another thing I've not seen. So, so they're running a trailer for the Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol. not seen that yet. I mean, I was told that they were going to do a spinoff with Carol, but I was also told they were going to do a spinoff of Daryl and Carol because there's been kind of a undercurrent of like a love story between the two of them for like the past almost 15 years now, and I think the audience has been more than willing to see that come to fruition. Mhm. Oh yeah, Paramount Plus, The Lodge. Didn't get a chance to check that out. The line was, I mean, all the lines were like Disneyland, Universal Studios long, and it's kind of always been my, not really been my thing. So okay, that's what this is. So it's little pop-ups that have been appearing around San Diego, or at least the downtown portion. And a lot of them are pretty interesting. And this Shaun of the Dead 20-year anniversary. That's hard to believe. Well, it does make you feel older. Be careful, spoilers, man. It's more Deadpool and Wolverine stuff. Definitely Deadpool and Wolverine were the biggest draws, I think, of the convention. We saw a couple like half naked dudes in pants, but no shirts, with like suspenders. But they had a bunch of tattoos and like masks, and they were promoting the new Borderlands movie, which I think comes out in a couple weeks. So there's a little bit of presence for that. There's also apparently a booth for aliens, where I guess you can take a picture with a face hugger. They'll be there all week. That'd have been interesting. To come to think of it, I think I did see somebody wearing a little bit of a costume from Alien that included the face hugger. Straw Hat Crew, that's One Piece. Again, not familiar. I do know her character, Stormfront, so that's going to be interesting. As we're going through a lot of this stuff, there's definitely lots of marketing for different models, like little toy models or action figures that might be cool for people to check out. Well, I guess they made a new logo for the DC universe, those DC Studios. They unveiled that yesterday. Now, I might not be up to date on anything DC oriented, but I don't know. Doesn't look bad. Looks like a perfectly serviceable logo for DC. Hmm. Exclusive Spawn Universe comics. Available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. Can't even remember the last time I heard anything anybody talking about Spawn, something with G.I. Joe. Somebody fawning about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Understandable. Funkos of Deadpool, Dogpool, Kidpool, Wolverine. Hmm. Wonder how much of that is spoilers. Things for cosplay. Guess they did a couple of cosplay meets. I guess they're doing something for Dexter, which I've never seen either. From what I was told, I guess because of the writer strike last year, there wasn't as much of an opportunity to get involved with a lot of the panels and the exhibits that would have otherwise have been there. So it seems like this last Comic Con. I mean, like I said, we still have a couple days left, but it does seem like it went off pretty well. And a lot of people will be happy with it. So I think we're going to change our parameters slightly in just a moment. The Safe Man. It's a novel by Michael Connolly. Guess the audiobook is performed by Jack Quaid and Titus Welliver. It could be cool. Thursday, 7:25 3:15, so it's a couple days ago. A conversation with Ronald D. Moore, moderated by Mary McDonald. So that's the creator of Battlestar, or the developer of Battlestar Galactica, the creator for All Mankind, being moderated by Mary McDonald, actress who played President Laura Rosalind in the new remake of Battlestar Galactica in 2003. Well, I guess you could have went and met Jane Taylor, the actress that does the voice for Cortana in the Halo series. Okay. I think we will change the hashtag. And we're still on Instagram, but still. Comic Con San Diego 2024. Avatar Breaking the Elements podcast. So we have the actress, the voice actress who played Cora, Zuko, Toph, and the other guy that plays Zuko's uncle. Huh, that was on Thursday. I missed that one. I've only been barely getting into Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. I think they're pretty good. So we got Comic-Con 2024, the Warner Brothers logo thing. This Fallout had a little bit of representation there. Lots and lots of cosplay meet and greet people, things. Well, I think it's a different one. Guess there was a panel for the new film, animated film, The Wild Robot, which is happening today at 4. So that'll probably be a part of the coverage for next week. San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Now, this is a book of some sort. Very interesting nonetheless. Oh, Tiny Onion. Tiny Onion is a comic book imprint, I think. Um, I read a lot of their comics. One of the big ones that I was reading was Department of Truth. That was really good. There's also a couple little things he does. Because the guy who's running it is, I think, James Tinian the fourth. He's pretty good. I still think so. And we're talking about all the advertising wraps that were on all the buildings around town. You had your Simpsons representation for Star Trek, a bunch of Hulu stuff, Dragon Ball Z, Elden Ring, Ninja Turtles. I mean, they went all out this year for advertising. You also got to be careful when you're looking at some of these things on Instagram or on Twitter, because every once in a while you'll end up seeing ads for other conventions because you looked up conventions, so it'll give you appearances for other people that are not going to be at Comic Con, but will be at these other things. And so, doing my best to kind of keep that in mind. So at 1:45 in Hall H today, they're going to have a panel that will discuss. It's going to be at the Lodge in the Gaslight District. No, visit the Menagerie. That's what they call it. The booth, the Star Trek booth, in the convention, and then you beam into the Lodge at the Gaslight. So I guess we're going to do it at both places. So they're going to be discussing Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Section 31, and Starfleet Academy. So I'm going to keep that in mind for another few minutes from now. 10 MCU movie announcement reveals we want to see at SDC. SDC. So this isn't actually anything, just hopes. Well, I think I did see a lot of people dressed up in their Fallout best. So I think that'll be a thing from now on. Lego had a presence there. Funko. Funko Pops are still popular. Shouldn't be surprising. I don't know if that covers all the news on Instagram that I've seen, but like I said, I'll update you guys on next week's show if I see anything noteworthy in the next few hours, and anything comes out tomorrow that seems interesting. So we'll be moving to Twitter, checking how that is going. So we'll do the hashtag SDCC24. Lots of people dressed up as Deadpool unicorns. They were representing themselves in, I think it's Gaslamp. Neurotic had a presence there. Has a presence. That starts in 20 minutes. The new Percy Jackson and the Olympians panel. Guess that just happened yesterday. Seen the new one. Actually, I'd never seen the older films. So this is all I have to go off of. I think it's fine. I think it's good television for younger people. New Power Rangers. And Daphne Keene was there. She's from The Acolyte, which also I have not seen. And Deadpool and Wolverine. She was X-23. She was apparently there yesterday and today. I'm not sure this is, but this is Avengers versus X-Men versus SDCC. So that looks interesting. Cosplayers dressed to the nines in almost anything you can imagine. I think this was 3 days ago. Well, apparently they had two Star Trek exhibits. They had a photo op and then like a costume thing. We didn't go to the costume thing, unfortunately. Critical Role will be doing something at 3 o'clock. Short Q&A, fireside chat. This looks interesting. Guess this is supposed to have been on Thursday. Ranking time travel movies according to their scientific accuracy. The things you miss when you don't go to these things. Oh well. Just seeing some comic book people pop up in these things. Dark Horse Comics was revealing some stuff. RPG Play Theater. I think the results on the San Diego Comic Con on Twitter are much better than what I saw on Instagram. And some of this news is a little older, but still relevant. Something in Spanish I can't read. Lots of interesting stuff. I think we covered all the big things. I think some of the news to come later tonight and tomorrow will probably be the biggest stuff of the night or of the convention. 'Cause I think they like to save the best for last. Um, I do know, at least from what I was reading on Reddit, that For All Mankind is going to start filming their fifth season soon, so that's good. And then they're going to be filming, or they're in the process of writing Star City, the spinoff of For All Mankind. And I think they're trying to have discussions on whether or not to have English subtitles or something to that effect. And I think they rolled out the subtitle thing, at least the English, Russian spoken English subtitle. So I don't think that's going to be what we see, because that's my suspicion. I wonder what they're going to do with it. Because the general plan for that show is a seven-season um, arc, and then you have Star City as another spinoff that'll do the same sort of season by season, decade thing. So season per decade thing. And my hope is that they come up with a spinoff after the main show ends that'll take place even further in the future, and we see how all these things that happened developed and how they, where they take them in the future. Now, in general, I've never really been a superhero fan, but in terms of movies, I definitely prefer the Marvel movies to the DC stuff. I'm definitely more of a Captain America fan than an Iron Man fan. When it comes to DC stuff, I resonate more with Batman, but I'm not opposed to at least the values that I would apply to Superman. So yeah, wouldn't call myself a giant fan, but I can see people's interest in it, and I kind of see my own interest in it. So I think there's a way to kind of split the difference on that. I think this is Portuguese. I did see something for Chariot Show, but I don't know what the name of it was. So the name of that escapes me. We'll change the hashtag to hashtag OH. See what else we find. And then that'll be it for the moment on our coverage of Comic Con. I guess the panel for Superman and Lois just started. We're doing some kind of a hope for a Scarlet Witch solo movie announcement today. And then, yeah, the Alien stuff is a promotion of Alien Romulus that'll be coming out in about 3 weeks. I already have my tickets. Be joining a friend for that. And then next season for the boys will be the last one. So our camel showed up to the SpongeBob panel. So he's a man of culture. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm definitely missing out on actually going to the San Diego Comic Con. So I'm hoping next year that I'll be lucky enough to either acquire a press pass or hold an exhibition or an exhibit of my own project there. Maybe not be, probably won't be next year for that, but eventually it would be nice. And then my hope too would be to just go there while I have the opportunity to on my own dime. I don't even remember what the tickets are, but I know they go really quick. I'm not sure who this is, but Avengers versus X-Men. Wouldn't be surprised this day and age. Well, I don't think I've covered everything, as I mentioned. Anything I miss or think that is notable, we'll discuss next week on the stream. That one I'm moving to Thursday night because on Friday night, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be going to Las Vegas, and I don't want to have any issues, at least in the transit. Well, it appears that that might do it. Like I mentioned, anything we don't say here, we'll mention it another time. So, think that will wrap us up with our coverage of Comic Con for 2024. I'm hoping to actually be there in 2025, and hopefully that's not the last Comic Con that they have in San Diego. It would be nice to be in San Diego for the remainder and have access to such a major event. But yes, next week we're planning to drive to Star Trek Las Vegas, and even though not everyone here who's watching this channel is going to be a Star Trek fan or even a sci-fi fan, since this is a channel that kind of explores each of the different genres, science fiction, fantasy, and horror. You don't have to be a fan of just one to enjoy the content of this channel. So I hope you do tune in anyway. I encourage you to listen. Don't not listen. The podcast that I'm doing next week, like I said, is going to be moved to Thursday, August 1st. So it's looking like we'll be leaving pretty early on Friday, so we can get there at a reasonable time. Because we do want to check out a few things before we're, you know, before we have to leave. So, um, or we have to leave to check into the hotel. So, because we're not going to be attending the convention on Friday night, we'll only be there for Saturday and Sunday night to attend the convention. Um, we'll be shooting some video. We'll be filming something. We'll be filming some panels. And we'll also be interacting with possibly few celebs. Not all of that will end up on this channel. Some of it will end up on another one. We'll let you know what that other one is later, probably around the time of the event itself. So there'll even be some B-roll footage that I'm going to use on my own projects, but I want to see what they use at this other channel that I'm working with to kind of figure out what I would actually want to use. I know they're probably going to pick the same stuff I would want to use. But I haven't been to Vegas since 2016, so about 8 years. I know this town has changed because every year they're, at least when we used to go, it seems like they were constantly changing the skyline by demolishing old buildings or um, rebranding buildings or putting up new ones. So it's always fluctuating, that town. But I do miss it. I do plan to go back and maybe even gamble a little bit and take some stuff home that otherwise I couldn't. But the thing I'm not looking forward to is the weather. The weather is supposed to be in the mid hundreds during the day and in the low 90s at night. So that's going to be fun. And those temperatures are in Fahrenheit for my German and Australian viewers. Sorry, I don't know what the conversion is, but I know, at least for me, it's pretty hot and uncomfortable. I don't see any breeze that's anticipated with it that might help bring it down slightly, but I'm not looking forward to the weather. Ideally, we spend more time indoors, so that doesn't become a consideration, though even as is, it's not enough to make me not want to go. As it stands, we're coming up on our hour mark, and I was surprised we were able to get this far. But yeah, I think that will conclude our journey into Comic-Con for this week. Next week at episode 3, we'll be discussing Star Trek Las Vegas 2024 and the little goodies that we have part of that. The week after that will be more of a free chat. I'll probably have a guest on that day if he's able to make it. They're on the East Coast, so they might have a little bit of an issue with timing, but we'll try to make that work too. The week after that, we have our stream, horror stream, the State of Horror stream. And then the week after that, it'll be a State of Fantasy stream. And then the week after that, I'm still waffling around what I want to do. But I know the week after that, there'll be a stream, kind of a vlog-ish stream where I'm going over exactly how my first week as a MFA graduate student went. And at the moment, I would say I'm excited. I'm very anxious about it, though, because I don't know how it's going to go. Because this is my first semester where I'll be teaching and where I'll be taught. So it's going to be quite a different paradigm than what I'm used to. But regardless, this is going to be quite a journey for all of us here at the Admiral Levi, and it's only me so far, but in my, I would say, small legion of fans, that I'm doing everything in my power to ensure that I live up to the expectations and dreams that I'm sure you guys have for me as well as my own. So we're going to do our best as we can to not let you down. Yes, probably beginning of next month, I'm going to do a whole nother. I'm going to game out exactly what the next few more episodes are going to look like, and then go from there. But I think we're going to have a pretty good series going. And my first guest will be coming not this next weekend, but the one after. And then I'm hoping to bring on a couple more guests as we go on in the series. If nothing else, this one will be the mainstay of the channel. Even if nobody watches, even if one person watches, it's enough. So I just hope that I'm entertaining you enough to keep you interested in what's going on. So I think that about does us for today. So just want to say thank you again for tuning into my channel, and I hope you stay tuned. See you all next week. But until next time, keep the ravioli in orbit and don't take money from a man named Jack.